Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast designed to analyze the games that we love, headlines and music, and the movies we can't forget. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, with my counterpart, Savon Morris, a.k.a. Savon's Corner. How's it going?
Oh my goodness. Yo, I have to start this with this. Good friend of mine texted me, asked me about the Kobe parent situation, how they're selling the ring that they gave him. And I saw Gim Arenas talk about this too. And I talked a bit about it with them. Like, man, they broke. Kobe cut him off years ago. I'm sure Vanessa has not even went that route. So I told a good friend said, I wish Shaq would buy the ring so they can stay in the Lakers family. And I thought that was a great idea. I just wanted to
That's a really
say
good
that.
idea.
Yeah, I wanted, Shaq, if you're listening.
Come on, Shaq. Come
Buy
on,
the
Shaq.
rings,
Inside the NBA.
Overpay for him so his parents can, have some type of money, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm doing good, though.
That's a great idea. I love how you I'm good. Well, we have a lot of topics to get into for this one. Obviously, March Madness is just starting. Some NBA topics, NFL free agency skill, album reviews, and then the last half we're going to do a review of Prisoners. To start off with just thoughts on the March Madness selections. I want to say this, first of all, man, before I even get to it. This past Sunday, our young adults group, we had like a March Madness hangout thing. And they did the screen with the bracket, and they're like, hey, we only want one person. We only want one person to give us the advice on the picks. You know who they guessed? You know who they picked? They picked Wellington's Wise.
Wellington's Wise.
Wellington's Wise. I was giving tips. I was like, hey, you should do this. You should do that.
I am proud. I'm very proud. Yeah.
But it started off, we got UConn, Houston, Purdue, and North Carolina are the 1 seeds in the tournament. UConn is the overall number 1 seed. Obviously, the defending champs. Florida was the last one to repeat. When you look at these particular 4, which one out of the 4 do you kind of like have the most trust in and feel as though like these guys can really get back to the Final Four?
And this might be a dark horse, but their trajectory to get to the Final Four, I have to say Houston. They're going to get past Longwood, then they have to face either Nebraska, Texas A&M team. I think they could beat them. They're on a winning streak. They have some edge. They were, deemed number 1 on the other side. So I think that confidence going into, and then they're going to destroy Longwood. If they lose to Longwood, bro, bracket's over with.
It's over.
Bracket's over with. But I do think Houston, in their trajectory, not because they're the better team, not saying they're going to win the Final Four. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm confident in their trajectory to get to the Final Four. And who knows, they might make a run to win the March Madness, the whole thing. But I think Houston right now, just their trajectory, and then you got Nebraska and Texas A&M going head early. I think that kind of like settles Houston down a little bit. But yeah, I think I got Houston for sure getting to the Final Four.
I think they do have the best. I do think that like a lot of times with the tournament, it's about the trajectory and like what type of group you're in. And I think like they have the best like possible route to it. UConn to me is still the one I trust the most, but I think Houston has an easier route. UConn's got a much harder route than Houston has. I think like that's the part of it that's going to be most difficult, because a lot of times it's not just about the team that you feel as though is the best overall. It's about like, hey, like, can this team actually navigate back-to-back games of tougher opponents than these other guys do? So I definitely think that'll be a part that's going to play a factor into it. And Houston, a lot of times they've made deep runs.
Yes.
Elite 8. So they've been knocking on the door. I feel like, like you said, this could be the year where they finally get over that hump and really get past. Because, I mean, they've been knocking on the door a lot.
Yeah, and then they get like I won't say a weak team because anything can happen in March Madness, but Longwood, it's a long stretch. A long stretch to say you're going to beat Houston at the number 16 seed. And Houston, I just feel their trajectory. Now, trust-wise, I know that was the original question, but it's kind of, I can trust UConn, but anything can happen. Is that trajectory when I'm looking at this time around this year, and I'm looking at Houston and how they're set up, and them being number 1 seed really helped them a lot. Because I think if they got trapped in 5 or 6 or even 4, then you got Duke, you got Kentucky, you even got Florida, you got some teams right there in the mix
that
that
you
can,
don't want to see.
you don't want to see. And then Nebraska and Texas A&M is playing each other in the first round, so that kind of helped them out a lot. So UConn, I do continue to trust Utah, but I think the
Yeah,
trajectory is better for Houston for sure.
for sure. So, did you do a bracket this year?
Not this year. I did one in my
Not this
head.
year.
I
I
did one
love
in
that.
my
I love
head.
that answer. If I never do one, I did one as well. I had UConn winning one, and then I had Houston winning the other one. If I ever don't do a bracket, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I did it in my head.
Yeah, it's in my head. Like I looked at a couple teams, even for both sides. I mean, I looked at both teams. I still think South Carolina is gonna win it all for the women's, and I just don't see anybody beating them. Even with
That's
Caitlin
gonna be
Clark and other
entertaining.
guys, it's gonna be very entertaining. I just don't see anybody beating them. They're a complete basketball team, fire, gritty, the whole nine. I like
Yeah.
them, and yeah. So I don't see Clark them beating them because Clark them had a trouble with Angel Reestem last year, and they're not even close to being the
Mhm.
same team or being better than South Carolina. But for men's, it's all in the head. It's all in the head.
And there's always a team that's, we say this every year. There's a dark horse team.
Yeah,
We just saw Michigan State win their game. I think it was against Mississippi State, and
yeah.
now they're going to be playing North Carolina. And
Oof.
I have been mentioning it with some friends a couple of days ago. I think Michigan State is always that team with Tom Izzo that they're always just battle tested, and he knows how to really galvanize the troops.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a tough matchup for North Carolina to get to the Sweet 16 already. Like right after their first
Mhm.
win, they're gonna be put right to it. Like, is there any team outside of the top four that you see could like possibly be a dark horse?
Florida, just the run they went on, beating a lot of SEC teams, and then I think they're number 10 in the bracket. And I think they can beat a Kentucky. They can beat a Duke. I think they can beat a Duke. They're just on a nice wave. I think Florida is a team to look out for. Maybe get into the Elite Eight. I don't know about the Final Four, but I think they can get to the Elite Eight. It's going to get real gritty. It's going to be a lot of 3-point shooting when you get to the Final Four. I think that's what Florida doesn't really do effectively each night, but they do play fast in a fast break. They finish at the rim. They assist. They do second chance rebounding. So those are the biggest thing from Florida I've seen the past 4 or 5 games. But
Yeah,
I think they're the dark horse. Look out for them getting to the Elite Eight. If they get to Final Four, whoa! But I do think they're to get to the Elite Eight. They'll
right.
definitely get to the Sweet 16 for sure.
Absolutely. And now getting to our next topic with NBA, Kyrie's game winner versus Denver. This was obviously something that had been mentioned a lot. Had the lefty hook shot over Nikola Jokic to win the game, and the degree of difficulty was extremely high for that one. We all know what
Yes.
Kyrie can do, but I mean, there are certain game winners that you're like, man, I just haven't seen something like that. I mean, in a while. Honestly, they did the flashbacks of Magic Johnson's hook shot back
Yeah.
against Philly to win the championship, and he even mentioned how that gave him that type of memory again. But when you look at Kyrie, the player he is when he's available, just the skill set that he has. What have been kind of your thoughts on the discussion around like, man, is he like the most skilled player ever? Is he one of the most skilled players? Like, where do you kind of think he kind of fits into that discussion?
He's definitely one of the best, if not number in top 3 skilled player. Guy could do anything. He can figure it out. And I think Iman Shumpert said this. He doesn't even he's waiting for you to see how you're going to defend him to be able to adjust. So him and Jokic, he knew Jokic is going to contest at this. I'm pretty sure he calculated this whole thing. Okay,
Oh
if I
yeah,
drive, he's going to
he thought about it.
contest right here. So this way, I'm going to lean or something. And like he's just a calculated, skilled, all around over skilled basketball player. Can do everything, like efficiently,
Yeah.
prolific. The guy, you could try to argue that there's other players, but no one is like Kyrie Irving. There'll never be another Kyrie Irving ever. Never, ever, 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 bro. The dude is
No,
just nasty.
it's so crazy because I remember one time Marcus Smart, like back when he was in Boston, he was talking about it and he said, man, like he has some amazing like finishes for layups, but like sometimes he just makes it more difficult just to be like more creative. Like He'll
Yeah,
finish. Like he could actually
that's
just
that's,
do
that's a good
assembly, but
point.
it was like, nah, I'll add to it because like that's the type of bag he has. Like even his teammates that are around him day to day basis, they know like,
Yeah.
man, he adds something different to it, and he really doesn't even have to.
Yeah, and then him growing up without a backboard, I think Iman Shumpert said that too. Like him having certain things or why he does his bag or
Yeah,
its bags of tricks, and that's was one of the reasons. But I mean, dang man, to be able to do that night in and night out, and that shot was not easy. Left hand, 7-footer, you're coming across like you got help right here. You got to adjust. You got to hit it right here, and you're beating the clock. It's so many things an ordinary person would not be able to do this.
yeah,
It's
this is not
Kyrie
ordinary.
Irving. No, it's a calculated shot. He knew what he was going to do, and he knew how Jokic was going to defend him. This is calculated. The guy is a monster. IQ is amazing. To go with IQ in that skill set, bro, I just wanted him to stay in with the Cavaliers. Bro, you would
You
have had
still
like
wanted
3
that?
championships. Yeah, he
Yeah,
would have had 3 or 4 championships. But the mentality he didn't have, he wanted to be the guy, but he didn't understand what he had at the time. Bro, you have a gold mine. Y'all could have really went at the Warriors for several years and beat them, just like y'all came back from 3-1. Stay with the Cavaliers. And then you went to the Celtics and that didn't go well. It's just like downhill. But his skill set and who he is as a basketball player never went anywhere. But it was a lot of distractions for him. So I think, yeah.
every player has that moment. Like that that 2016 finals was his moment. It's just never gonna be able to top that. Like
No.
I think about that shot over Steph. I think about LeBron's block. I mean them both having 41 points in Game 5. I'll never forget that.
Yes,
I
bro.
mean that was his moment. Like, and I don't think at some point he was just kind of like, well, I got to do it myself, and that's where it takes away from what you can add on to that because it's like that's I don't think we ever think Kyrie's going to get back to that stage again.
I was just thinking that he'll
like,
never win
he'll never
another
get back to that
championship.
stage again.
No, he won't.
That's
It's over.
it.
It's over. You will never win a national on NBA championship. Another one. You won't win another one. Sad. He's a great freaking
Sometimes the
player.
only one. Yeah,
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 he
sure.
yeah, he should have just stayed Cavaliers. Should have just stayed.
Point blank.
Right.
And now moving on to the Phoenix and Clippers struggles. Phoenix is currently 8th in the West. The Clippers have recently had some bad losses to the Hawks, lost convincingly to Minnesota and the Bucks. And it's interesting because Phoenix this past Sunday, they lost to Milwaukee without Giannis, gave up 140 points. And I think with Phoenix, sometimes you see more of like they are not able to play consistently well against the elite teams, and that's what's most concerning. Because if they want to get to possibly the NBA Finals, you might have to see a Milwaukee. If
Yeah.
you can't even beat them without Giannis, their best player, and giving up 140 points, it just so many times the defensive effort wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
KD had an abnormally bad game. He usually
Yeah.
doesn't have those type of I think 11 or 13 points. He doesn't have those type of performances. But when you look at the Phoenix and the Clippers, which one kind of concerns you the most heading into the playoffs?
Phoenix. I mean, he just went off again for like a 40-point game and just went
Yeah,
crazy. But the Phoenix Suns, they have invested so much into these veteran guys, Devin Booker, obviously KD, and you got
yeah,
Bradley Beal. You just get Isaiah Thomas for a 10-day contract. It's a lot of other moving pieces there. And it's just not calculating. Obviously, they're number 8, they're 40-29. I mean, it's still not terrible. They're still in the mix, but you expect more from this group of guys. Obviously, Devin Booker's been injured, and sometimes KD doesn't show up. And I love what you said about KD. He's not a team leader. That's not what he does. He's a scorer. He's going to give you buckets. He's going to give you this, but they're missing leadership. And it can't just be the coach. And when CP3 was there, he was the field general. Well, not field general. He was the court general. He was the guy.
yeah.
He was the leader. He was a veteran over everybody. They don't have
I'd
that.
love this
KD.
team. I'd love
Yeah.
this team. I'd love this team if it wasn't Bradley Beal and Chris Paul was there. It was Devin Booker, KD,
Yeah.
and then Chris Paul because you got a floor general.
Yeah.
I would not taking anything away from Bradley Beal, but I can't really count on him
No.
being there.
No.
So I mean, it's just like when you get into those pivotal moments, if KD and Booker are struggling, Chris Paul's going to be like, "Hey, we're going to slow down the offense. I'm going to get a bucket, or I'm going to set somebody else up to get a bucket."
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
what you need. That's what Houston used to have.
They really don't run plays like that
They don't.
with the Suns. They really don't run
It's
plays.
a point guard. They needed a point guard. They didn't need another scorer.
No, it looked good on paper. We started this back when the Celtics got everybody. It was like on paper. Do you remember that?
Yep, on paper. Yep, always
Yeah,
said that.
on paper. I always said that, but these it looked good on paper. Everybody's Bradley Beal's going over. Bradley's Beal been injured throughout his career. He's it's so many things that the Wizards did to him that his career has not revived himself, and then he's injured again, and like he's not reliable. But to let go CP3, and it just was a terrible move. I feel like it was a terrible move. They need that guy. They don't have that. So now you're spiraling at number 8 spot behind Dallas, who just came and moved in front of you not too long ago. It's just, it's yeah, man. That's what
So
they
they're going to be in
need.
the play-in. So they're going to be in the play-in. Wow.
If
Oh,
you would have said that in the beginning of the year, after all these transactions that the Phoenix Suns have done, that they were possibly have to do in the play-in, I would have laughed in your face. It wouldn't have been a wise zone.
yeah, that would have been a video you would have laughed at. Like, okay,
yeah, I'm like, all right, wise, okay, okay.
I'll also say this about the Lakers, man. They're, I think, 10th in the standings, and I think the Golden State is 9th. Golden State. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Golden State, Phoenix, the Lakers could all be in the play-in. That is just crazy to say.
Yeah.
That's come on, that is insane that those 3 teams could possibly be in the play-in.
Yeah, man.
Which one's gonna make it?
Most likely. I think Phoenix will get in the playoffs
I think
for
so
sure.
Too. I think so too.
But I want to side note, Perkins and all those guys said Steph Curry would never win another championship. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Come on, Wiseau. Come on. Hit me with something. Come on, Wellington. I need it. I want your opinion. What do you think? Because you're so high on Steph. He's the best shooter ever. Come on.
I think the current state of things. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. The current state of things. The current state of things. I'm gonna say no, and that's because it's not because Steph can't play at that level.
Yeah,
I think the surrounding pieces they're young and they're still learning how to play in those big game situations. And Klay's getting older.
Yeah,
but he's having to come off the bench. Yeah. And I think he's getting comfortable with that, but that's still not the high potency. Because when you think of Klay to get to the finals, it has to be like high potency.
Mm-hmm.
Like those 30+ games, those 30+ games, locking down defender, locking down offensive players. Like now you're going to have a Klay coming off the bench. Chris Paul's coming off the bench. The team is getting older, but those younger guys, can you really count on them in the big moments?
Yeah.
I think Golden State could be dangerous in the playoffs, but Denver is still there.
Yeah.
OKC is getting better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put them over Golden State because I think that would be a tough, really tight series. But OKC, they're rising up the ranks. The West young teams are coming. You know what I mean? They're coming up. So I would say Golden State, they can still be in that mix. But the championship window, I think that part is closed.
So we will say, is it safe to say that Steph Curry's player expectancy is for the next 3 to 4 years he's going to retire? Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
So do you think they can find, because it took them probably 4 to 5 years to build that roster they got to be able to start winning championships. Can you think they can move around pieces in the next 3 to 4 years to make a run for the championship? Because we've seen it done.
Kuminga's a valuable piece. Kuminga's a really valuable, and some teams are going to really want Kuminga if they're willing. I wouldn't do it because I'm like, that's a guy I would want to keep for the long term.
Yes,
but I think with them focusing on Steph, they're like, Steph's 36 now.
Yeah.
We only got about 3 more
Yeah.
years,
Yeah, for sure.
and we
Good
can't we
3.
can't fumble 3 more
Yeah.
really good years. You know what I mean? We can't fumble what Steph can possibly do.
Right.
So I think if they go for it, it's gonna have to be Kaminga.
Mm.
He would have to be the center of it because they're and that's just a guy like I do not want to give up.
Nah, I don't think they should give him. But I don't know. I agree. I agree. I think it's a
Do you
long
think it's close?
stretch.
Do you think their window's closed? Their
I
championship window?
do. I
Yeah.
do. I say that because of what you just said. Everything you said, I was going to say, but that's why I posed the second question: can they build a roster, a competing roster, to be able to go down that road? And we've seen this done before with several teams. And you look at OKC, but it took them 4 or 5 years. We don't have. That's why I said they don't have that player
You don't have that
expectancy in
luxury.
Steph Curry. They don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
But if they can do it in the next 2 to 3 years, in that year 3 when he's like 38 or 39, and they can do it, then but it's a far fetch. I don't think they will be able to build a roster that can compete with a growing Minnesota team, a Denver team that's solidified. OKC is coming up. I mean, the Clippers, they're in and out, but they're still a team that you don't want to mess around with. So yeah, I believe Steph Curry's championship run is officially over. Sad to say, man.
It's so sad to say.
Wow.
It's like I think we all like when we look back and this ties into a bigger point. Like in those years, like 2017, 2018, we didn't even imagine what it would look like when they would get older. We were just like, they're here. Like this is the team. This is the cream of the crop. And so it's hard to envision what we're seeing now. Did we ever think Clay, did we would see so soon Clay having to come off the bench? We're like, man, the Splash Brothers.
Splash Brothers.
And now it's like, nah, I got to come off the bench. Like
Six man.
No longer splashy.
No longer splashy. That's wild.
Isaiah Thomas was recently on Draymond, and this is another question I have for you. Isaiah Thomas was recently on Draymond Green's podcast, and they were talking about when KD was there, and he said, he deliberately said, if KD wasn't there, your guy's legacy would just be the 2016 3-1 blown lead. He was like, he said he saved your guy's legacy. And so I personally disagree because I'm like, they still won a championship. They still won a championship without him. They won in 2015. You know what I mean? I got to go back to that because I'm like, it wasn't just with KD.
And then they won one without 22
after 2022. So I'm like, that negates it because I'm like, I have seen Golden State push it even without KD. Obviously, they were unbeatable with him, but even without him, they were a championship team.
I would say that narrative, he should have worded that narrative differently.
A little better, yeah.
I would say they would have not been as big of a dynasty as they were if KD wasn't there. And then obviously they lose to the Raptors because of multiple injuries. But I think the dynasty wouldn't have been as strong if KD didn't come over. Because we've seen that 3-1 lead, that is demoralizing to any organization. And if Kyrie would have stayed, then that rivalry would have been so crazy. And they would have added pieces to that Cavaliers team. Kyrie just needed to stay, but Kyrie wanted to be his own man. But I do agree to a certain extent that if KD would never came over, it wouldn't have been as a strong dynasty as they were. But they did win without him twice. 15.
That's where I always go back to.
22. Yeah. So that narrative does negate. I definitely agree. But if you would have worded it differently, then yeah. But nah, you don't want to hear about 3-1 lead. They won 2022, and then they win several other times.
That is the one that still hurts the most, obviously. But they've had more titles as well.
That was the first time they ever happened.
Ever done it. Oh. And then 73 win. That year was just crazy.
Crazy. And it was comparing it to the Lakers, to the Bulls. All these
we're gonna be the greatest team of all time. We're gonna be the greatest team of all time.
But that blemish definitely tarnished. I see what he's saying. Okay. I see what he's saying now.
Savon's corner just rolled around. He's like, let me make a U-turn.
I see what he's saying now. Because of that 73 winning three season and all the implications that went into it, and y'all were talking mad junk, especially Clay.
Clay was going crazy. Clay was
going crazy, talking reckless, and you blow a 3-1 lead to a team that wasn't. Y'all were better. They were better than the Cavaliers. Can we let's be
yes.
They were better than the Cavaliers, but they just wanted it more. They got complacent. That 3-1 lead, blown lead, that would have been, I see what he's saying now. I see. But they did win without him.
Draymond was looking like if I didn't get suspended, we would have won. He was looking.
Draymond was like, Draymond, he gave you 41. The next when you came back, everybody's saying, "Oh, when Draymond comes back, he ain't gonna go do all that, bro." He gave the brother like 37, 40.
I don't know why we're still talking about this. That's just such a fascinating finals. Wild. But that game 7, Draymond stat sheet: 32 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists. He went off in game 7.
Who, Draymond?
I'll never forget. Yeah, Draymond's performance in game 7 was elite. He did everything he had to do in that game.
That's when people left him open.
Yeah, for sure. So in that game, he did everything he could. But game 5, I still don't think with what Kyrie and LeBron were doing, they just were different. And now moving on to thoughts on the recent success of the Pelicans. They're currently on a 3-game winning streak and currently 5th in the West. Zion is doing what he really does at a high level when he's available, rebounding, versatile scoring, and being dynamic in transition. And they're looking into the right form heading into the postseason. And I feel as though when Zion can play like this, the Pelicans are healthy. They can be one of those dangerous teams in the West, a team that can push you to 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
What has kind of impressed you the most about the Pelicans? And also what we're seeing from Zion, because even JJ Redick was saying, this is what we want to see from Zion all the time.
Yeah.
And when he can do this, he's one of the prolific players in the league.
Distractions. It's been distractions around Zion since he came into the league. And the weight issue has been lingering and overlaying his career since he got into the NBA. When he's at a certain weight, he can do certain things. We're never saying Zion Williams' ability is shot. We're saying he's not focused on basketball. He's not taking care of his body. He's not. Those are the things you have to do. And you look at Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq could have had 10 championships if he would have took care of his body and did what he had to do. And I think now Zion Williamson is understanding in being that determination. Okay, I'm gonna keep this weight off and I'm gonna do this. He's high flying, but he got up the other day on the alley.
Oh yeah,
but he got up. So it's. Yeah, these other people, Brandon Anthony
Edwards dunk. I want to say that. Did you say Anthony
Edwards
dunk?
That wasn't a dunk.
That was not a
finish,
dunk.
Man.
That was a finish. I love how Anthony Edwards, when he saw the replay, he was, oh man, that was cold. I did that. He was just
he knows.
Which I mean, you know you did that. But I love how he embellished it and was like, I did that.
That's wild.
That's a crazy dunk, man.
Nah, it was. He got up too, but. I mean, I think with the Pelicans, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, obviously Brandon Ingram's always banged up. Is still not coming to where I want.
BKD part 2.
Yes. Oh my goodness. But we need to stop beating that dead horse, bro. I don't think he'll get to that point. He's been in the league way too long. Got to move on. But I think all those moving pieces, Jose coming off the bench. It's some guys coming off the bench getting good minutes, but I do think CJ McCollum and those guys are starting to figure out. And Zion Williamson is the core of this entire basketball team. And when he's there available, like you said, and when that weight is off, he's at a good weight. He's able to do these things, finish at the rim, hustle, all these things that he did at Duke. So, man, they looking good. Zion's looking good. I hope he can continue to keep the weight off. Like you said, I do think they can give somebody a run for their money in a 7-game series. Do I think they get out of the first round? Absolutely not. But I do think they'll give somebody a run for their money, though.
Who would they play? They're currently the 5th seed, so I'm thinking, it might be the Clippers.
They won't get out of that.
No, they will not get out of that yet.
They won't get out of that.
Now they say that they're not winning that series.
Kawhi would playoff. Kawhi is different.
Yeah. Playoff Kawhi is different. Yeah,
he's different, man. Oh, wait. Did you see James Harden contest Kawhi's shot?
I had to look at him. I was like, wait, what happened?
I was like, what?
What?
What is he doing? It was a beautiful pass. He was like, you know what? It was too beautiful. I'm going to contest this. Right, yeah. But I think if you would have made it, like you said, if you would have made it, then it would have been like funny. But I feel like Kawhi was like, what's
Yeah,
wrong with this
I was
man?
like,
It was more of a
I
distraction
was
than
looking
anything.
really offended. He's looking
You
so
probably won't
offended,
talk to him for the next 2 weeks.
I'll say this about Kawhi. Kawhi may not show a lot of emotion, but when he's offended about something, he is going to show all the emotion in the world. When you really have upset him, man, he'll show it. He'll show it, bro.
Yeah, because I know he was thinking to himself,
so
like, bro,
crazy.
this man, why he just do that, bro? He just missed up my shot. But if he would have made it, it would have been more funnier. But he contested his own shot. That was wild, man. That was wild.
Out of all the things I could have predicted this year for sports, man, I could not have predicted a LeBron and JJ Redick podcast. I could not have predicted.
Yeah.
Mind the game. I could not. And that is when we talk about sports media, it's interesting. JJ Redick has always said, like, even when he's on First Take, he feels as though some of the conversations it's the same topics. It's just, the Lakers. Let's talk about the big market teams. JJ has kind of wanted to do like deep dives on kind of basketball breakdowns. And I never expected LeBron to get into the podcast space, but it's a great podcast.
When you're a billionaire, you're bored.
I know exactly. But I mean, just hearing those two pretty much just break down basketball, talk about the nuances, and LeBron is still in the game. It's fascinating to me. It's not something I expected. I think it's a great listen. Like, what were kind of your thoughts on that announcement of the two coming together for a podcast?
I love the angle. Like they said, it's a lot of podcasts that talk about the same thing over and over. Same thing.
This is different.
But to be able to, I just wish they had one more party. And I know they probably get like guests.
They're going to get guests.
I want a head coach on that. I want an ex-head coach.
LeBron doesn't like head coach.
I know, but if you're breaking down, they're really, really breaking down the science of basketball.
Guys, if you listen to it, it is like full breakdown mode. It's deep X's and O's.
I would say, okay, not a coach. I think they need
another former
player who's funny. It's too serious for me. Like, it's LeBron's laughing or whatever. They're laughing a little bit, but it's like he's like really serious. I'm gonna talk basketball. I'm gonna talk X's and O's. I'm gonna give you jargon.
I think that's the purpose of it. Yeah,
I know, but after a while it will get dull because now I feel like it's gonna get dull. Even with LeBron in Redding, I think it's gonna get dull after a moment. You have to have a comedic factor into that. That's why I do.
That's the thing with
crazy
Full Scope.
Stuff I do.
That's the best thing with Full Scope. It was just me. Like, we gotta have same.
Nah, well, let's say don't sell yourself short. Well, let's say it's hilarious. You understand? Well, it's hilarious. So we have to have that comedic aspect as well as talking real sports. Guys has been around and seen it firsthand. But I think that's what they're going to be. Obviously, it's still new, fairly new. But I think once they get,
they did 2 episodes in LA.
Yeah.
So, and they said they're going to have some guests coming up soon. But yeah, I do understand your take. I just think if there are podcasts like that do have humor, Gil's Arena. If you want to laugh, I laugh all the time listening to Gil's Arena, man.
Gil, so funny,
like so funny, bro. So I think this one is a complete shift, but that is a good point. Sometimes you do want to balance it out, but man, it's a different podcast. I still just didn't expect it. Yeah, it puts it in.
Yeah, me neither.
It definitely puts it into a different realm. I just thought it was an interview that JJ Redick was doing. I didn't think he was doing. Oh, we're just actually combining. So
yeah, and then you see the logo. I was like, oh, they started a podcast. That's an interesting person.
Alex Medina. I don't know if you know Alex Medina. He did the artwork for Lecrae stuff. He's really good friends with Tyler. He's doing the artwork for their podcast and different.
Okay, that's dope.
As well. Yeah.
Okay, that's dope. Yeah, I never thought he would team up with JJ Redick. I mean, that's just a
That's
you
what I
know
wouldn't
they
have
low key
predicted.
already have a podcast.
Who?
Like LeBron, like the barbershop. I
Oh,
feel
the
like that's
barbershop.
that's a
Yeah,
podcast in a
it's more
sense.
so like a video. It's more like a video show, I think.
Yeah,
But
but you can like because most podcasts have video, but you can still put
yeah,
the audio on streaming services if they
mhm.
wanted to. Technically, that's basically a podcast, bro. Basically,
But you got to
just
think about like look at what JJ Redick's doing. He's already commentating NBA games. He's doing First Take on Wednesdays. He's got his Old Man in the Three podcast. Now he has this podcast.
with
I don't know how
LeBron,
I don't
Lebanon
know how
James. Yo,
I don't know how he keeps up with all of those. Like,
well, for doing the games, that's a big hectic. But
that's what I'm
podcasts,
saying. You're doing the
bro,
games.
like
I mean, but in this, doing the games as well. I mean, that's kind of a lot. And then you got the final
hey,
schedule. I don't even know how he's going to be able to fit in episodes, but I mean, he's doing it.
hey, that's what they. I mean, even LeBron. I don't know how LeBron's gonna do all of this because he does.
I
Obviously,
feel like
LeBron
during the
takes a lot of stuff.
playoffs, it's not going to be as many episodes
No,
unless they don't
absolutely
make
not.
it. Unless they don't make it. Like I'm free.
I'm free now. I'm free now.
Ready to buy.
What I would like them to do, I would like them to bring on like college players. You know how
Yes.
John Gruden, and I hate to say,
Yes.
he can bring in quarterbacks and talk football and break down plays. I want them to use film on this podcast and like visualize it and then bring people and like what would you have like I don't know. That's what I'm like now. If we're gonna do this, if we're
And
gonna
that's
break
what it makes
down,
me think. Like, if I'm
yeah,
gonna use a comparison translation for the NFL, it's like Tony Romo and Patrick Mahomes doing a podcast every week. It's just like
I would not listen
you
to
got
that.
I know, but you got an announcer. You got an
Yeah,
announcer and a we like I can't think of the last time we've seen that. You know what I mean? Maybe
yeah,
we have, but it's just to see a current announcer and a current player actually recording a podcast.
yeah. No, that I think
I
they're the
should have picked a
first.
better announcer. I should have picked a better. I don't know what
Yeah, Tony
better
Romo.
announcer.
Robert Griffin III, to be honest with you. He's
Oh, I don't like
comical.
Robert Griffin. I don't.
You don't like
Not,
RG?
no.
Uh
Means I do not. I'm not a fan of RG3, man. That dude is corny.
RG's
Anyways,
cool, man.
he's so Ryan Clark. I think a Ryan
No.
Clark. You don't like Ryan
It's
Clark?
his delivery is starting to get on my nerves and how he delivers and
See,
how he
I love
talks.
when me and Savon do this because when we talk about media, we just talk about what we like and what we don't like. There are certain people that he likes that I don't like. There are certain people I like that he doesn't like. So I mean,
I'm not
it's
saying
just
I don't like Ryan. It's just
the pivot
I
is fire, man.
watched
I listen to the pivot all the time.
I watched it. I listened to the pivot, but it's just like how he constructs questions and
Because
how
you
he
used to
breaks
be
it down. Like,
you used to be a really
oh.
big fan of his.
I'm not saying he's not terrible. I'm like now it's like okay, bro. Like
Do you
how
listen
you
to the Taylor Rooks and Joy? I forget her name. They got a podcast. Taylor Rooks is a new podcast.
I don't know who that is. I'm
Google
just
her,
sorry.
you'll know. You'll know who
Taylor
she is.
who?
Taylor Rooks.
Taylor Rooks. Wellington.
All right, we're
Wellington.
gonna move on. We'll move on to the NFL topics. But now getting to the Justin Fields trade to the Steelers. The trade was confirmed on Saturday, and Pittsburgh sent a 2025 sixth-round pick to the
Oh
Bills.
my goodness. I know who that is. Yeah, they got a podcast. They talk about men and dating and all that stuff. Yeah. Anyways, it'll fail.
Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I know who that is. She can play chess with me any day.
Oh
Rook Bishop. Come on, I deserve better than that, bro. That's a
you know what happens.
Name, man.
You know what happens whenever she interviews players. The players they say some crazy stuff like Jalen Brown said, "Yo, I think we can win like 7 championships in the next 9 years." Whenever a player interviews her, they be acting like they got the ultimate risk.
Hey man, confidence.
Yo,
Beautiful women
like
agree your confidence.
4 straight times.
Yeah, we can. I'm the best player in the world. What?
Like Michael Jordan, who?
I'm the best player that ever did it.
Justin Fields to Pittsburgh. What's your takeaways?
Finally,
yes, we talked about this.
I thought that was, and a lot of people saying that them coming out saying Russell Wilson is going to be the starting quarterback. Don't look. That's smoke and mirror, man. Smoke and mirror. He's going to have to compete for that starter position. If Justin Fields show any sleight of hand better than Russell Wilson, you bet your bottom dollar. This is what I said on Facebook. I said Justin Fields will start. Wilson is the contingency plan. And we talked about Justin Fields, and I think how Tomlin will give him the best resources to be the best quarterback he can be. And he invests in his quarterbacks. Look how he invested in Kenny Pickett. And I didn't like that pick. Didn't like the pick at all. He didn't show me anything at at the Senior Bowl, but they picked him anyways. But anywho, I think Justin Fields is a perfect situation. And then you have a veteran quarterback. I know a lot of people saying he should sit a year. He has a chip on his shoulder. He has abilities that Russell Wilson can't do anymore at an efficient level. Extending plays. I think Justin Fields' accuracy is still there. The arm is still there. I think he'll have a better offensive line, and he'll have a running game that he did not have with the Chicago Bears, as well as threats on the outside. He only had DJ Moore last year, and it was a lot of drop passes that nobody wants to talk about with the Chicago Bears. Is there a lack of running game? A lot of people don't want to talk about with the Chicago Bears. There's a lot of they went on the defensive side in the free agency and then the offseason last year instead of giving him pieces on the offense. They were directly defense last year. Now he's getting into a situation where he can thrive. I think it's a perfect opportunity for him. And I think he will beat out Russell Wilson.
Yes, and I just want to say that is the writing on the wall. When they decided to get Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, man, that's not going to be your starting quarterback by the end of the year. I do not believe that'll happen. Justin Fields is going to be the guy. They are thinking about the future now. And even when they got Russell Wilson, we both said, like, man, really wish they would have gotten Justin Fields. And now they're finally making that move. And what better system for Justin Fields to be in? He's got a great coach. Mike Tomlin is going to let him be him. He's not going to try to make him be somebody else. He's like, whatever they did with you in Chicago, we're not doing that. Chicago did not utilize him the right way. So
not at all.
This fit. And how do you kind of see the AFC North playing out? Like with Justin Fields now in Pittsburgh and, Baltimore getting Derrick Henry. Cincinnati has kind of not made that many moves, and that's going to be interesting to see. And they really just have not been active at all.
So they won the conference last year. I think they only lost one game in the conference. I think it was 5-1 or something like that. So there's expectations to win it again, and they won it with several quarterbacks because Pickett was out, and then Mason Rudolph took over certain games, but Najee Harris came on at the end of the year. And that's how they got that berth and got into the playoffs. I think there's a certainty with this offense, especially with the defense, that and is another factor that will help Justin Fields because that Bears defense did not put them in situations to help Justin Fields. They play behind a lot. And when you have a banged up and a subpar offensive line, you're going to have to throw a higher percentage of the time. And that's what Justin in that offensive line showed. They weren't that good. He was getting sacked. He was getting run out the pocket. Guys were dropping passes when he did get into them. So I think there's expectations with the Steelers that they won this conference, even with a really, really good Baltimore's Ravens team. And I think there's an expectation and a certainty that they perhaps can win it again, even with the addition of Derrick Henry, just going up with the momentum that they have coming from last year. And I think if Justin Fields gets comfortable and now they have to deal with not just a Lamar Jackson or even a Tiger, LSU Tiger, what's his name? Joe Burrow. I hope he come back. I hope Joe Burrow come back strong, man. I think he's one of the guys going to be future of the league. But
he's one of those guys, man.
Now the Pittsburgh Steelers have a quarterback they can be proud of and say, hey, we can compete. Even if we won our WestCom last year, now we got a quarterback people can fear. I think people will start fearing Justin Fields here shortly. Or Russ. Well, nah, Russ ain't going to start.
And now moving on to Mike Williams signing with the Jets. Williams signed a 1-year contract that has a maximum value of $15 million. Since 2018, Mike Williams leads the league with 15.8 yards per reception among players with at least 200 catches. This is an interesting move. I think some people weren't expecting this. He was talking about him wanting to pair with Aaron Rodgers. What are kind of your initial takeaways on this one? This is just a move that there's always a certain move that you don't expect and you don't see coming.
Yeah.
This one, I don't think a lot of people could have predicted. I couldn't have predicted it as well, and now it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to fit into this Jet system.
So I think it's an excellent pick. It's interesting that the Chargers gave up on him, and then they got rid of Keenan Allen too. So I think I don't know what they're
Doesn't make any sense.
doing.
Get it anymore, man. Like,
Oh, who is he going to throw to? I guess they want to just clean shop and get a bunch of young guys. But
that's
anyway,
what it's looking like.
That's what it's looking like. But the Jets saying, "Hey, Aaron should be good next year. Fingers crossed that he can play a full season and then retire. He needs to retire after this year. That he play a full season, and I think Aaron Rodgers still has some juice. And then he just sat, even though he came back from an injury really fast. He just sat for an entire season. Now he's more rejuvenated. He's more focused. He's going to be more hungry. And then you need to give him guys he can throw to. I think with the running game with Breece Hall, a lot of people, he showed a lot of people like this injury did not stop him. We saw the first game that he was gassed, a couple big runs, but throughout the year, we showed that he was still that top tier running back. And then you need wide receivers to go with Garrett Wilson. Then you get Mike Williams. You still got Gibson. Alan Lazard, we're still trying to figure out his role with the organization. And I think if Aaron Rodgers come back, he'll have a veteran presence and they have that chemistry. So he knows what Aaron's looking for. So I think with Alan Lazard, who can take it over the top, he's a deep ball threat. And then you get Mike Williams, who's one of the best contested catching wide receivers in his career. I think that's what you need to give a veteran quarterback. Guys who can take it off the top, who can run any route, who can get contested catches. And I think Mike Williams fits perfectly with Aaron Rodgers. And I thought he was going to go to the Chiefs. Everybody was talking about him going to the Chiefs.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, and then I read this on ESPN.
Hollywood Brown goes to the Chiefs.
I actually like that better because they're looking for that Tyreek. I mean, they have a couple guys, but I think Hollywood's going to have to prove himself a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously definitely proving year. He's a lot of drop passes with the Ravens and with the Cardinals. So Andy is not going to go for that. I mean, no, actually he fits perfect because all of them was dropping passes. Welcome to the party. Dropping it.
Yeah. Just show up in the postseason.
We're going to drop passes. Let's go.
Before we move on, Aaron Donald, man, is retiring.
What a guy.
What a guy, man. When we look back at Aaron Donald's career, I mean, it's one of the most imposing defenders we've ever seen. And he was a monster. He was a monster for so many years.
Yeah.
And that's a void that's going to be so hard to replace in Los Angeles. Like when you look at Aaron Donald's legacy, what he did, how fast his get off was, as you always say. I mean, this guy was so sensational for so many years.
I've seen a lot of things, them comparing him to other defensive tackles, even comparing him to defensive end like Simeon Rice. They put their numbers side to side. Simeon Rice never won a defensive player of the year, never won a rookie of the year. There's a lot of stuff Simeon Rice didn't do. And then Simeon Rice is a defensive end. He's a complete pass rusher. And I think obviously Simeon didn't really move around on the defensive line. But anywho, that is not even a good comparison. But I had to say that because I keep seeing it on Facebook. I see it on Twitter. But Aaron Donald probably is definitely top 3 best defensive tackle ever. I've never seen any other defensive tackle get tripled team, quadruple team. I mean, a tackle, a tight end, a guard, and a center. Like they was putting hands on him like he was at the altar, Wellington.
He was at the altar.
They put their hands on him.
Brother Aaron.
Brother Aaron, what would you need to be praying for? Come on, man. I've never seen another defensive tackle get quadruple teamed. And it was against the Miami Dolphins. So it's so many things that he does, and just the get off, the disruption, to feeding his teammates, feeding off of him, getting sacks. Like he's just the type of guy, and he's always trying to figure out new ways, man. It's going to be hard to replace him. And I understood he didn't have the drive to do another season, and I get it. Yeah. So I'm excited to see. He doesn't need to go into media. Don't go in media. you're not that you don't talk good enough to go to media. Just
now I will say, Jason Kelsey, yeah, he can do that. Jason
for
Kelsey can
sure.
go.
That podcast is pretty good.
The podcast, I really like the podcast. And when I saw what he did on Thursday night with with Kirk Herbstreit, Al Michaels, I was like, oh yeah, he
did a pretty good job. He has a voice for it, has a look for it. Yeah, he's a wild boy though. I don't think they want a wild boy.
Those Kelsey boys.
He's a wild boy. Man. Something else. You got to clean up his act. But I think if he does, I think he's just continue the podcast. Yeah. I think that's his lane because he go crazy.
When you have brothers together, I mean, the chemistry is just going to be unmatched.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got some. I listen to their podcast. There's a good one. Yeah, and then they break down. They have that comedian aspect, and they also break down stuff too.
That has the comedian aspect that Savon wants in podcast. So JJ and LeBron, if you're listening, try to find a.
If you didn't sound like Tyler Birds right there.
Oh, stop, chill out. Why do I keep getting comparisons?
I'm sorry.
Speaking of comparisons, when I did my last video, somebody said, yo, you sound like Keith Lee.
All right. We go to the next Wellington. That's crazy, brother.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Savon's speechless. I've never seen Savon.
That's crazy. Whoever said that needs to be stopped.
Stop their account now.
Suspended. I hope it's on TikTok. It's going away anyway.
It is. It's on TikTok. Yeah, it's about to get banned anyways. And now starting off with our first album review, Ransom's Lavish Misery. In this new 8-track project, he executes high-level East Coast rap music that had cohesion and inventiveness. Ransom is a rapper I really like a lot because with any song, with any track, I kind of know what angle he's going to take it to. I think he's very nuanced with his wordplay and his delivery. This one was a really short project. I feel as though he's going to be working on more music coming up. What did you kind of think about this project overall and what he put together?
I got to listen to it again, but it sounded like the beat and his vocals and how they mastered them
didn't match.
It didn't match. It sounded separate, and it kind of threw me off. Like every song sounded like it's like this is his vocals, and instead of like hugging it or being under it on top of it, it just seemed like it was separate, and it kind of took away from me really like indulging because I like the aesthetics. Obviously, it's hip hop. So when the beat came on, I was like, okay, and then his voice was like, why does it sound like that? Maybe it's just that song. And then I went to another song. I was like, why does it sound like this?
Why is the audio file over here?
Yeah. And then, like they didn't mix it well or something. It's just an ear sore. But I do think he's a phenomenal rapper. And he has the different cadences and all the check boxes of a MC. But it just was too hard for me to kind of like listen fully because of that aspect. It's just really just like I don't listen to this anymore. But
so every track that you kind of sounded that way.
Yeah, it was like last week when the dude didn't sound like he's supposed to be on any of these tracks. The singer, I was like, oh my goodness, man, this is dreadful.
Oh, Jack Freeman.
Yeah, it just didn't sound like he was supposed to be on any of those beats.
Song.
Yeah,
a 10-song commercial album is crazy. Try to make a 10-song commercial.
See, well, listen,
we got to make a commercial album.
Comedian aspect. I told you.
We're in the lab. We're all talking. All right, trying to make a commercial album.
Yeah, this it, bro. This it. I promise you, this it, bro.
Streams.
Streams. That's funny. That's really funny. Oh my goodness.
but Ransom he's a really talented rapper, but like you say, sometimes when the production, or just not even the production, it just was like they didn't line it up, as you said, things like that can just really take away from the whole album. Yeah, man, and I really like wanted to like it because like every time you give like those hip hop type of vibe projects, and we appreciate those. Yeah, because we're a connoisseur of hip hop, and then it just did not gel because he was talking now. He was talking for sure, but the beat wasn't listening. It was just like this, just far away. But yeah, it was weird. Before we move on, speaking of somebody who was talking, J. Cole's Might Delete Later, Volume 2, man.
Wait, what?
J. Cole, he dropped a new snippet. Might delete later volume 2, just like how he did with the first one where he like did a
Huh.
short. Yeah,
Was he riding on a bike?
yes, that one.
I thought that was old. I just
No,
skipped
that's
it.
new. That's new, bro. You got to look at
Oh,
that
I
one.
gotta go look
Yeah,
at it.
man. But
Oh my
from,
goodness. I
from what I
skipped. I was like,
man,
he
I'm
always riding a
telling you,
bike.
that's what you normally do.
Right.
I love how J. Cole he's such a regular. He tries to be just such a regular dude. He's like, I'm not going to be changing at all for this. But
No.
bro, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna tease anything. But man, J.
Is it
Cole,
better than the first one?
I think it is. Yeah, I think this one is better than the first one. The pockets he gets into, it's just so technically sound. It's not. I mean, it's like a minute 30, but it's so technically sound. J. Cole sounds hungry, man. I don't try to get my expectations up for album. I really try to take that away. But the fall off
It better be better
it
than the
might be
last
incredible.
album,
Fall
man.
off might be
I'm
incredible.
hoping, bro.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
hoping. Okay, I'm
He's
gonna
doing
listen
he's
to it
doing
after the
everything. He's
podcast.
doing everything to build up. Like he's setting it up perfectly. He's doing the Might Delete Later Volume 1, then the Volume 2. It sounds like he's really gearing up for this one. So
Okay.
we'll see.
I'm excited.
And now getting into our next review with Sierra Wax Worldwide Whack Review. In this project, she focuses on intention, lyrical ability, and being creative with her sequencing. This project is an interesting one because obviously she is a bit of an orthodox kind of musician with some of like the beats she picks. I feel as though there are certain songs that kind of highlight what she does better than others, like in terms of the production.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like a all over the place type of album in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like it just
Excuse me.
it's more so like a playlist than an actual album. You know, and it's you know what I mean. It's kind of put like that. That's kind of what I felt like. This is more of a playlist than the actual project. But to you, kind of, what did you think about it and some of like the overall takeaways?
Hey, you wise, brother. That's a perfect take, bro. Yeah, it definitely sounded like because it was. It's like, hey, she does a lot of things. Like she's very creative. She got a lot of
Yeah,
pockets she could go into, but there
I didn't
can't.
get one sound. Yeah, I didn't get one.
Yes, sir. Wellington. I don't have to say anything. I'm telling you, Wellington. No, that's perfect, bro. Like we can move faster because I've been talking too much. This.
Yeah. So he saw Taylor Rooks. He was like, "Hey,
oh wait, I know who that is." But nah, you said it all, bro. Sounding like a playlist. Too many sounds. I think once she finds a foundation, then you
oh,
be
she keeps
consistent in
coming."
that, and then you will be able to go in different pockets and be versatile in different projects. But this project definitely sounds like a playlist. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect.
And some people gave a lot of praise for it. To me, it's just not what I prefer in an album. Because I think when you're giving an album, I'm expecting it to sound like one and be comprised like one, and it just didn't. I'm not trying to give any shots. I know sometimes the way I know that was crazy. That was a crazy way to say it. That was a stray. That was a stray. That was like
But it needed to be said, brother. It needed to be said, man. Perfection.
See, that sounds like hate. That sounds like hate when I say it, right? That
doesn't sound like hate to me. That sounds like A&R.
And they
yeah.
I'm available.
Yeah. When I want it, if it's supposed to be an album, it need to be an album. If you're gonna say it's a playlist, make it a playlist. Exactly. Do a mixtape. So yeah, they ain't hating. That's truth. That's truth, brother. What did you own one? I'm sorry. You own one, brother. I like it.
And now getting into our next review, Derek Goburn Jr. Until Summer Song, inspired by Hummingbird. In its fourth album since 2018, it comprised New Jack Swing style tracks, influences from Michael Jackson, and a house track. And this has a very, like when I first heard one of their tracks, I think Until, it had a very like 90s feel to it. And I think they're kind of the influence of it was like a really like 90s based type of vibe. And I think this project to me, it flows together really nicely. The only track I wasn't that big a fan of was when he just tried to like really interpolate Michael Jackson. He just he was going for
blatant.
It. He just like, I'm just going for it. I grew up on this. So I'm doing it. But overall, I think it really flowed well. It gave me that 90s vibe, that nostalgia. To you, kind of, what do you think about it overall?
See, Wellington, bro, you are on it. You are on it, bro. It definitely gave me a nostalgic 90s feel. I enjoyed this project. You are right. He really, 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 really tried to be Michael
He was
Jackson.
going for it.
I got a light skinned friend look like Michael Jackson. Got a dark skinned friend look like Michael Jackson. He was dark skinned. um, yeah, but no, I enjoyed this project, bro. It really gave me that nostalgia feel. I think the beat selection was amazing. Like he
Yes.
didn't really have to do too much on these songs, and it felt like summer. And I love the title, "Summer Songs Inspired by a Hummingbird." That's a female, obviously. Everybody know what a hummingbird is. B, do you hear that hummingbird outside? What you Ray Charles, brother?
Great job.
You Ray Charles? B, you hear that hummingbird? But no, I enjoyed this project. Definitely got saved. I never
It got
heard of him
saved, man.
before. Yeah, it got saved. Definitely never heard him before, but I love the vibe of it. Really gonna play heavy this summer for sure. That's
This is
something you
such a
can
summer
play any.
project.
Yeah.
This is such a summer project. I
Mm-hmm.
love this. And now getting into our next review with Party Next Door's "Real Woman." In his third single, he goes for a moody, slower type of track, and kind of what he'll do for the woman he wants. Whenever Savon, when we talk about Party Next Door, I always wonder what Savon is thinking because if I'm telling you, if there's a guy who's been such a big fan of Party Next Door, it's been Savon.
Body.
This man, there's another track we're going to talk about coming up that I really like more than this one. This didn't do it for me, man. This just didn't do it for me. I don't know what it is, but and I'm trying not to go to that nostalgia of man, like for what the first two projects were, how classic those were, and what it was, and maybe just can't get back to that. It just didn't sound like it definitely was not a single song. Let's first
Definitely not a
that
single
is
song.
not. I don't know what they're doing in terms of the selection. But it just didn't work for me. It didn't make me feel excited for this project. He's dropping it next month, April 26th.
Yeah.
And I'm not at the state of where I want to be in terms of an excitement level. What did you kind of think about it overall?
The exact same thing, bro. This didn't do anything. I was talking to a friend about this, and I told her we were saying like I hope he give us the P1, P2, P3
Yes.
vibes, not party
Yeah.
mobile. I mean, 7 days wasn't bad. Like, bro, but just give us the. I don't know if he was just in a different pocket, he can't produce that anymore, or if he doesn't want to produce it, he wants to be different, bro. Your
See, like Party
fans.
One, Party Two. I mean, those are the type of tracks where when you hear it, you are thinking about a particular girl. You're not
Oh,
just
for
thinking,
sure.
you know what I mean? Like those.
For
It's like, okay,
sure.
like come on,
Come see me for it. I
come
got
on,
one in my
man,
head right
come
here.
on,
Why I gotta keep coming to you?
come on. Why we
But
gotta fight, girl?
man, look at here, man. Yeah, this wasn't it. Um, I think I guess you were referring to Her Old Friends,
Hmm.
the song that you like most. Yeah, that out of all the three, yeah, that one was, I
Yes,
think, the best one, and it had some remnants of
that's
P1,
what I'm
P2,
saying. I
P3.
got a little bit of that, man.
It was in
This one,
there,
I just
but then some of it, I was like, come on, man, come on, party. And he's like talking about, oh, we'll drop it sooner than you think. It's gonna be like, nah, bro, I'm not getting the vibe. Only Her Old Friends better be the only song on that project. You better leave them where you dropped them at, cause, bruh, I know
how many of these singles do you think he's gonna put on the album?
I hope just Her
Like
Old Friends, but I know he gonna put all three of them on
he's
there.
gonna put all he's gonna put all three. Yeah.
Oh, he didn't drop these for no reason.
No, not at all. These are songs. These are songs on the album. Man,
It's
I'm not
terrible,
feeling
man.
good about this project. I'm not feeling
No,
good about this, man.
I'm not excited. Like,
It's
mm,
the excitement level should be just so much higher. Dropping in April,
yes,
weather warm. It's supposed to be we're supposed to be feeling good, but we are not.
like I'd
Man,
rather you be on a feature than you drop an album.
honestly, yeah.
Yeah,
Even with
man.
what he did with members only, like I was like, okay, that's a party feature. That's a natural party feature. But it's just like when he's actually on his own, it doesn't sound like the vintage party.
Bro, just cold P1, P2, P3, bro. Maybe 7 days. That was a nice, or Color.
But
What,
how
what
hard is it? How hard is it for an? Because like Bryson Tiller, he recently had an interview because he's dropping a self-titled album next month. I mean, I think in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
And they were asking him about trap soul, and he was like,
will never
"I'm
be
just not
enough.
at that state anymore." You know what I mean? I'm just not at that like how I know we want those projects, but how hard do you think it is for an artist to actually drop something at least similar to that?
Some artists can do that.
That is
Some
true. Oh
artists
yeah,
are good enough to do that. Like Party is that type of artist. Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick. There's or R&B guys. Shoot, it's a I can't name anybody, but like Usher, like these guys, Chris Brown can drop similar albums that can contest the last album. But if you're not as good as you think you are, then that's what it is. If you can't give us anything remotely close. Now I did go back and listen to the deluxe anniversary album.
it's so good.
There
That's
is,
so good,
yes,
man.
bro. There
I'm telling
is
you,
similarities to
that's old
Trap
Bryson. That's
Soul.
some old
Yes,
Bryson.
bro. I was like, why did I go back? Why did I didn't know about this? Because he just dropped like 5 or 6 songs.
I like Anniversary Deluxe
Yeah,
a lot. I like that a
yeah.
lot.
That's in my road. Next to You, Sorrow, like the one with
So
Big, I
so
even one with
fire.
Big Sean. I like the one with Big Sean. I thought that was a fire song. It's a bunch of
Yeah.
songs on there that some interludes. So I was like, man, why didn't I hear about this? But I think he can. I think he just doesn't want to. He said it'll never be a Trap Soul 2 because and that posed the question: have you even tried?
He hasn't tried.
Because the
I don't
album
think
you
he's tried.
put out, the next album you put out after Trap Soul, that wasn't. I hope that wasn't your attempt to be Trap Soul.
All right, guys, part 2.
That was wacky, wiggity whack, bro.
Man, talk
That
about
was
like if we
so
do a ranking of
terrible.
like worst sophomore albums, man. That might take the top spot.
That was such a dud, man.
Man. And the hype was high because they're like, oh man, after Trap
Really
Soul, he might
high.
like rise into the ranks, but it didn't meet that at all. Now getting to Sinead Harnett's the most one of her latest singles, her vocals are consistent as usual. There's kind of an artistic distinctiveness to what she brings to a track and makes the replayability just so visible. Um,
Fire.
it's been a while since I feel as though it's been a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years, maybe a few years since she dropped a full album. But man, this single, I like it a lot. I think she's dropped 2 singles, so I think she's gearing up to drop something else probably
She
soon.
dropped,
But
yeah.
three, three,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So she's been really active. So this
Excuse me.
overall, I was pleased with it. She's consistent, and
Mm-hmm.
I think overall, it's just a really enjoyable track to listen to, and it's one I want to keep replaying.
Yeah, very consistent. Dope 3 tracks.
Yes,
Chef kiss.
good 3-pack. Yeah,
Yeah. Can't wait to see what she's gonna do at Alma. But yeah, very, very, very consistent. Yeah, she's dope. And it got saved.
oh for sure.
Yeah.
That one immediately
Dope.
got saved.
Dope. And she's beautiful. Oh,
That as well.
wait.
That as well.
Tyler, huh? I told you Tyler was an industry
What about her?
plant. She's an industry plant in her West Con. And then they tried to do the PR like she has a undisclosed injury she's been dealing with. No, your ticket
Yeah, she's
sales
hurting.
were
She's hurting.
trash.
She's hurting.
Yeah,
So
she's
hurting.
hurting, right? She was like, I thought my one song could do it.
Sometimes you just
No,
need
baby girl.
attentive guy to listen. You just need an attentive guy to listen.
Oh yeah, that's what she needs. Yeah, good wholesome brother.
Good wholesome guy. Come on.
Exactly what she
Good
needs.
intentions. Good intentions.
Good intentions.
Good intentions.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
This guy, Savon's corner. He's like, nope, I don't approve. I don't approve.
Hey, we gotta get shirts now, bro. We gotta get shirts now.
We gotta get merch.
We gotta get some shirts. Yeah,
sure.
I think that would be really dope. And we gotta wear them each podcast.
Man, we gotta wear them.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it. I got a guy.
Before we move on, though, one of my favorites, Big Sean, is back. Dropped a whole time freestyle over a Jay Dilla sample. Big Sean sounds hungry, man. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think yeah, food poisoning. Come on, man.
What?
He did. He literally did.
Wellington. Food
He
poisoning?
rapped, literally did the freestyle video after he had, which is crazy, after he had food poisoning. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Literally did the freestyle video after that.
That's not impressive. You can still talk after you got
It's
food
it's
poisoning.
it's not. It's really not. It's not like he had the flu or had COVID. It's coming back.
Was the
But
bars there?
you're not a big Sean fan? Are you not a big? Yeah, the bars were there.
No. I do think Big Sean is a good rapper. His albums in a complete project never pans out. I feel like he's better on features.
Detroit 2 was good.
Yeah, it was. It had its moments, but it's just like he's been in the game for a while, and Big Sean can rap his butt off. I feel like he's been on tracks with people who he out rap for sure, especially on Click.
Yes.
And it was a couple other songs he was on that I think he out rap a bunch of guys. But it's just like full on projects. I'm not there anymore for him. Like I can't get excited anymore. Can't get excited anymore for those. So if he does drop something like a single, I'm all for that because his singles
dropping
are
one
dope.
tonight. Yeah,
he's dropping a single tonight. Okay.
Okay. Tonight. I think it's called Clear.
I'll be on the lookout on that. But album, I'm not excited for that.
Oh, like he has Sir is dropping. Sir is also dropping tonight.
His album?
Dropping an album tonight. He's dropping his album tonight, which is it's
No Evil is mad wavy.
Oh yeah, man. I'm looking forward to this one. We got Future and Metro dropping tonight.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a stack. It's gonna be a stack night. It's gonna be a lot of good projects.
Thursday is always a good drop, huh? Going into the weekend.
Tyler is dropping, so self-titled album. So go Tyler, go.
Comment.
I'm not. That's not gonna be the first album I listen to. I promise. That's not gonna be the first one I listen to.
I hope not. Like, you're gonna be disappointed.
I know. All right, we got to get to this last review. Bryson, we've held on. We've held off for long enough. We didn't even review. The crazy thing about this, guys. Last week we were supposed to review Sir and Isaiah Rashad's song and Bryson, but I literally forgot to bring it up. I don't know what I was doing. I just did not bring it up, and we just went to the next. I was like, wow, there were 2 reviews I didn't do. Wellington's Wise Zone was not wise for once. It's never. We gotta get sure.
Too busy on the March Madness, man. All the wisdom went to March Madness.
Yeah, it went to March Madness. It went to Tyler, whatever. Anyways, let's move on. Get into Bryson Tilller's Calypso review. And his newest single before his self-titled album, dropping April 5th. This really has a dance feel, R&B tune type of vibe to it. I think it's going to be a smash hit in the summer. It's going to get played a lot. I really like this song. I think it's a good type of vibe track. And I think it sounds like an energized Bryson that's going to kind of take this album into a different lane and a different pocket. To you, kind of, what were some of your initial takeaways of it?
Hey, this cover art looks weird, man. For this album,
cover art was a little weird.
Yeah, it was just I've never seen nobody haircut that clean.
That's a crispy line.
What's his name? Steve Harvey.
Oh yeah, which wasn't real at all.
It wasn't real at all, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have thought?
Didn't even move. Didn't move. I mean, it just stayed the same spot every time, and I'm like, even when it's raining, doesn't like drink. Joint like was like, nope. I'm scanning for her.
Even if it's raining.
Oh my goodness,
bro! You got me sweating, bro. The wind couldn't even move that thing, bro.
It's like, nope. I'm scanning for her. Planet.
That's wild. Oh my goodness, Calypso. Nah, I thought it was a dope track. And then I looked on the album, it's number 14. So there's an 19 song project. And then so it makes me think like why he put it on the back end. But I do think I thought it was a dope song. I thought it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
So you're surprised it's on the back. I'm kind of surprised it's on the back end of the album.
Yeah, that's number 14.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
maybe if I'm guessing, maybe the back end is going to be more of this type of feel. Maybe the
Maybe
front end is, you know what I mean? I feel like that might be the move.
because he dropped another song outside. I haven't listened to that. I just looked at the album, but he dropped another song called Outside. So I'm gonna listen to that and see if
What's the
that
vibe for
if
that one?
yeah, what's the vibe for the end of the project. But I mean, this song was cool
Because
though.
because I needed something else other than whatever she wants. Whatever she wants was just like it was
Yeah,
okay. It
it
just
was.
I need another like a really substantial single to follow. I think I was glad he dropped
Yeah.
this one.
After that, Westcom, the verse was terrible, and then after whatever she wants
Yeah,
gets redundant. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
wasn't. But but
TikTok.
with what he's doing with this one though, um, I think this is a good and my guess is just like the back half of this project is going to sound more so of this. So I think it's
Yeah,
when we listen to Outside and see how that is, I think that would be a good test case of like what the overall project might sound like. So
yeah.
party let us down, but Bryson
Don't let us
please come
down.
on, give us some hope because April is going to be Bryson, Party Next Door,
Yeah.
um,
Somebody else
and
is dropping in April.
somebody else. Oh, Future Metro. They're dropping the second part.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes,
it's
yes,
gonna
yeah.
it's gonna be a stacked month.
Mm.
It's gonna be a stacked month. Then Beyonce is dropping the album You're Gonna Hate next week.
Yeah, don't even get in, Terrence. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.